he's doing a good job. And the more he can get out there in game exposures like last week, the better it's going to help him. But every day is a learning experience. We're still growing this thing, and as we put stuff in, trying to figure out what we're good at, what he handles well, what he's comfortable with.
He's had a succession of really, really good practices today. It looked like it was a little off. What did you see today?
I think it was a sloppy performance by the whole offense. Like, bouncing people in and out of the huddles and doing those things, and we need to get in there and clean some stuff up. And I don't want to comment too early because I need to see it all on tape before we can really to say where the breakdowns happen. But it wasn't our best performance today. We had been practicing at a much higher level until today.
Now, how challenging will it be on Thursday for the preseason game when it looks like you're probably not going to have 60% of your offensive line, like the whole interior is going to be
I'm going to let Coach Gase handle all those questions. The bottom line is no matter what happens, who's out there, it's the next man up mentality, and we can't control that, and we're going to focus on the things we can control.
How did you like the tempo of that first drive?
I was fired up about it. Obviously, there's 7 plays. We get in the end zone. Had a big third down conversion, which Sam made a great play, climbed the pocket. And that's an emphasis this training camp with Sam is being able to climb the pocket. And he has such a gift to extend plays, but keep your eyes down the field. And Herndon popped open, and it was a big conversion. And the next play we had an explosive to Crowder. And just to get off, like when you're building a culture and you're building something new, you have to celebrate the small victories. And this offense needed to have some success to see all the hard work that they're putting into this thing pays off a little bit.
With regard to Greg Williams, what did you know of him prior to being here with him, and how just describe his coaching style and how difficult?
I've worked with Greg in Tennessee, and obviously my 9 years in Tennessee or eight or 9 years with him. He was also there for a long time. We had the one crossover year, and Greg's always going to challenge you because he tries to think like a quarterback does, and he knows the things that bother quarterbacks, and he's trying to affect the quarterback in his game, and that's what makes it makes it tough because he's trying to disguise looks, and he's trying to bring overload pressures, and he plays enough front, and he'll junk it up enough on you that it's a challenge. You got to know who to ID, and sometimes it's a safety playing defensive end, and he mixes up those looks.
If you coach obviously with him, you know how competitive he can be in practice. And he's talked a lot about how that might help his offense as well. From what you've seen, how has that helped the offense?
Hopefully you have the guys that are intrinsically motivated that compete against themselves to be the best players they can be. Obviously, Greg has a great intensity, like the rest of the coaching staff, and so hopefully that the players are feeding off that juice. But we have a good group that's hungry to win, and they're all working really hard to try to be the best player they can be.
Is that kind of intensity all good, or at some point do you have to say, guys, okay, it's just practice or something?
I think anytime you can create intensity, the game is intense, and when they're out there on Sundays and it's just them, you have to be able to create that intensity, and it looks different from every player. Sam's intensity is a lot different than Jonathan Harrison's or Jamal Adams, So, however, the intensity is good because it does raise the level of pressure, and and games are intense, so it does help.
How do you think Trevor's coming on? He obviously played well against the Giants, and seems like he's been progressing in camp.
Yes, sir. I think Trevor's done a really good job to this point and has a really good foundation of the knowledge of the offense. He had some time behind Manning in Denver, which helps him come in here a little bit. And he's a professional, and he knows how to study. And the more you're in this league as a quarterback, the more things you see. And so now you have your recall is bigger on defenses, on coverages, on pressures, on checks. So he does have a huge advantage that way, and he's been great in the room for Sam and Davis and Luke Falk, and so we're really fired up to have Trevor here.
Now, how important or critical is Sam's ability to process information in terms of making the offense run quickly?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the biggest question is when you're running a no-huddle offense, it's how fast everyone processes. And that starts with Sam because he's going to call in and he's looking at the defense, and now all of a sudden he may check a play, or he's got the ability at the line to change plays. So the ability to process information in a no-huddle offense quickly is extremely important.
With Winters and now Assembly missing a little bit of time, does that slow that down a little bit at this point, or are you guys far enough along where it doesn't?
Regardless of who's in, we're going to keep pushing the envelope for the quarterbacks. This offense is run through the quarterbacks, and obviously the offensive line will be second because those are the two hardest jobs. And then the next hardest job is probably tight end. So we're doing everything we can as a coaching staff to get number 14 prepared to play in the regular season, and then we'll figure out the rest of it as it goes. But the offense and the playbook is predicated around the quarterback.
How valuable can Khalil be?
Sir?
How valuable can Khalil be?
Yeah, I mean,
Sam?
very few times you get to bring in a player at this point in camp that has the experience that he has, that has a resume. So we're really excited to get him on the field. He's been mixing in, doing some things, but he's going to be another veteran presence. We talked about the ability to process. That's what he's going to have. He's going to have an unbelievable recall of fronts and coverages and a knowledge of protection that's going to help Sam and take a little bit off his plate at the line of scrimmage as well.
With the receivers, obviously we know you have the top 3 guys. How comfortable are you with the depth, and how wide open is the competition for the 4 and 5 spots?
Well, Coach Gates will obviously set the depth chart, and he'll talk about those things. But it's a good competition because we have some guys that have flashed in practice that we need to see them do it in preseason games. And Greg Dortch is a guy who had a good game last week, and we expect a lot from Tim White and some of these other guys that are out there. And when their numbers called, sometimes in preseason you don't get a lot of opportunities, you don't get a lot of balls. So when the ball comes your way, you got to make plays on it. And we're excited about the evaluation process because we got some guys that we have flashed some stuff to us, and we got to see how it all shakes out.
Were you surprised, Dowell? You talked about the pace and the tempo, but it was I think maybe you ran no huddle once during that first drive, but for the most part you guys were huddling up. But the idea of playing fast, was that even a surprise to you as how fast it was in that drive?
No, sir, because there's been so much time invested, and I think the advantage of a no-huddle offense is when you can be in the huddle and then go fast as well, because now the defensive coordinator, he's scared to put his eyes on his call sheet because he has to keep eyes on what's going on in the field because all of a sudden you're huddling and all of a sudden, bam, you're going again on the ball. And I think it's really important to be able to change tempos, and that's something we've expressed to our group, like, hey, we need to be able to play in the huddle, play from the huddle and on the ball as well, and we need to do both of them equally well.
Is that all? All right. Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.